Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I will be breaking down the last second field goal win that the Minnesota Vikings had over the Green Bay Packers. But before we do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Hit that notification bell so you can see when we create new content. Like this video, comment on this video, and let us know your thoughts and anything you agree with or disagree with. And Ryan, let's get into it.
Let's
We
do
hit
it.
this one on the head. Minnesota needed to win this one, and
Well,
they had a last second field goal to clinch the win. Huge victory for them. This bumps them up into the number 6 seed wild card spot at the playoffs
yeah.
happen today. And I would say they have a favorable schedule coming up over these next 7 games of theirs. I'm still liking their chances to make the playoffs, but also not even just make the playoffs, but be a team that they don't want to play against. I want to hear your thoughts on the game and how they played, how Green Bay played, before we kind of break down any playoff scenarios here.
Yeah. So, first things first, it doesn't look like the Packers really had a bad day. Like, this was just a
Yeah.
really good game.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers was 23 for 33 for almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and AJ Dillon had 11 carries for 53 yards. They just got outplayed, and the Vikings finally got one of these last second field goal games to go in their favor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I I was really impressed with both teams. I think the Vikings showed that they really are competitive with the top teams in
Yeah.
the NFL. They just kind of
Mm-hmm.
had some bad luck, and that to me that was my major takeaway.
Yeah.
While it stinks to lose for the Packers, and there's no moral victories,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even really like they got blown out or like they had like a bad play that cost them
Yeah.
the game. They just didn't get the ball last. So that
Well,
was kind of my takeaway from the game.
yeah, and,
But
and it really was a hell of a game. It started off kind of slow, but then there was one punt in the second half. I think there was 21 plus 8. How many points? 39 points total scored in the second half by both teams. The Packers didn't play poorly. Their last 4 drives, excluding a one play kneel down to end the first half, all ended in touchdowns. So their last 4 drives, they got 28 points. Like it's like you said, they did exactly what they needed to do to play to win the game. The Vikings and this is what the Vikings do. Kirk Cousins, you already said Aaron Rodgers said. Kirk Cousins had a similar game, 24 for 35, 341
yeah,
yards, 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had himself another day, 8 catches on 10 targets, I believe. 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen, 8 catches as well, 83 yards and a touchdown, 82 yards. My apologies. This team just played well. And honestly, and both teams played really well. Neither QB was sacked, if I'm not mistaken. There's no turnovers committed by either team.
hmm
It was just a great game of football. And this is what, obviously, we know what the Packers can do, but this is what the Vikings can do as well. Like a team, when they
yeah,
make the playoffs and they're in there in January, I don't want to play them if I'm the Cardinals. I don't want to play them.
no,
I don't want to play them. If I'm Dallas, I don't want to play them. They can put up points. Yeah, Dallas and Vikings already played. There's a unique situation there, but also middle of the season. Vikings are still trying to get their sea legs, trying to break the curse that they had going on them, or whatever it was. I think the Vikings are going to be a playoff team. They're one of the top teams, and I think they're going to be in that 6th spot. Right now, that's where they're at 5-5. But in this game, I don't think they can come. I don't think they can win the division. But if you just look at the way
mhm.
that they're playing, though, I don't think there's not really a team. I don't think that they can play and beat on any given Sunday.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you say that, you mean that they can't beat, right? Is that what you said?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's not a team that like when the Vikings play them, it's like, oh, that's a for sure loss for the Vikings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, so we kind of talked about this in the pre-show is that the Vikings are a very balanced team. They have a solid
Hmm.
offensive line. They can run the football with Dalvin Cook. They have really good weapons in Justin Jefferson, Adam
Hmm.
Thielen, Irv Smith Jr., and supporting cast.
Yeah.
So I mean, talent wise, they're definitely up there, and I think they just had a few unlucky moments. 'Cause I don't even want to call them bad moments early in the season.
Yeah.
Uh, they
Hmm.
just unfortunate turnovers at times. They didn't get a few coin flips for
Missed
overtime. Like,
field goal.
yeah, missed field goal. So like you said, this is a team come January. I think they could do uh, what they did a few years ago to New Orleans this year. They
Hmm.
go in somewhere in wild card weekend and just shock a team because they're
Hmm.
like, oh, it's wild card weekend. Like we're the home team, we should win,
Yeah.
and then
Hmm.
they come out and play flat, and Minnesota, I mean, puts it on them. So I think this team is definitely on the come up. One of the things too is I think they can still improve. They can still
Hmm.
get better, and their schedule I think will allow them to. They have a pretty big game next week, I think.
Yes, a
Let me
huge
get to their
game that
schedule.
we'll definitely be previewing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they have a really big game next week against the 49ers. A head-to-head win could be huge for a wild card spot. Also,
Hmm.
too, it would knock the 49ers a step back because this AFC or this NFC wild card race is coming down to about 4 or 5 teams really for three
Yeah.
spots.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but after that, they play the Lions, the Steelers, the Bears twice, the Rams, and then the Packers again.
Hmm.
So. I definitely think that road for them can get them to 10 wins. But I think 9-8 in the AF or in the NFC might get you a 7 seed.
Yeah, no, I think 9-8, just with the trajectory where everyone's going. If we are looking at it right now, technically the Saints are in the seventh spot. They're 5-5. I project them to continue to keep falling. The Panthers are 5-6. Another team to look out for that we'll need to kind of take a little bit deeper dive that is in the playoff hunt now is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Um,
Yeah.
but as of right now, I think it's going to. I'm kind of looking at three teams here now fighting for two spots: the Vikings, the 49ers, and the Eagles. And that's why we already mentioned this. But the game next week between the Vikings and 49ers is going to be a huge, huge game for both teams because, as you said, playoff implications already. Just record, just one game closer to getting to 10 wins. A
Yeah.
head-to-head matchup against another playoff wild card team. It's going to be crucial for them to kind of keep this momentum going. And I mean, if you're looking at Justin Jefferson, is he turning into one of the best receivers in the league, if not already? I
Oh.
mean,
Oh yeah. I mean, so coming in last year and putting up 1,400 something yards as a rookie,
yeah,
and breaking the rookie receiving record, it already, I think, kind of established him as one of the up and coming wide receivers. But I
hmm,
think this year, especially his performances as of late, has really shown just his fine tuned route running. He has exceptional hands,
hmm,
uh, and he really can run routes at every level of the
yeah,
field.
yeah,
So, and he's a complete weapon. Honestly, so trading Stephon Diggs to the Bills and then getting Justin Jefferson in a trade might be one of the fairest trades I've ever seen. Uh,
oh yeah, hmm,
that was just an incredible deal, and I think Justin Jefferson will pay dividends for the Vikings for
yeah.
longer.
Well,
So
especially too when if you like Stephon Diggs, he's a little bit
it's like
older. How old is
27, 26 or 27 now,
he's
maybe
getting? He's
28.
getting towards the latter half of his career where he might start to lose a step. But then Justin Jefferson, I don't even think Justin
He's
Jefferson's reached his prime yet, which
no,
is scary to
no.
think about.
I think he's
And so,
23.
yeah, and we've already talked about the offensive line. I think we needed to give a shout out to it was Christian Darrisaw, right? Was
Yeah,
their pick. He's having a great year. If they kept stats for offensive lineman, he potentially could be up there for rookie of the year. I don't think that he would ever get it because he's an offensive lineman.
yeah,
But all that being said, Kirk Cousins is having himself a year. I know there was a lot of talk about coming into the season about is Kirk Cousins the guy. I know some of my friends that are Vikings fans didn't like Kirk Cousins coming in, and now he's having himself a year. He's up there in passing yards, touchdowns, completion percentage in all categories. But really, I think just kind of to wrap this up is uh, the I don't think Minnesota could come back and win the division, but
no,
uh,
that'll be
um,
tough.
what do you think their final record is going to be? Looking at this, the rest of their
Um,
schedule.
looking at their schedule, I think 9-8 is definitely doable. If they
Hmm.
can get to 10-7, I mean, so they need 5 more wins. One, they should beat the Bears twice.
Hmm.
Um, See, they're going to have a couple of coin flip games, I think. I think the Rams, the Packers, and the 49ers are all coin flip games. And then they should beat the Lions, Steelers, and then the Bears twice.
Yeah.
So that would put them, even if they win all the games they should and lose the coin flip games, that would put them at 9-8. But I think they're a good enough team they can win one of those coin flip games. So
Yeah.
I think they'll end up at 10-7. Uh, but
Hmm.
I think 9-8 is probably at this point the most realistic expectation
Well,
for
and
this
I would
team.
say 9-8 with the win next weekend against the 49ers is is what they need because they want to get that playoff
Yeah.
advantage, that head to head
And
matchup against them because it's going to come. I think it's going to come down to them. Potentially the Eagles, and we'll need to get into that into a different episode only because they have a relatively easy schedule coming in. But uh, there's not anyone with Justin Jefferson. I mean, again, even against the number one defense, and then also then the cast of characters behind him, Dalvin
yeah.
Cook at running back, and then you have Adam Thielen, Tyler Conklin, Irv Smith Jr., KJ Osborne. The cast of characters that are on this offensive side of the ball, they can go up against anyone. They can put up points against anybody. So that's where it's going to be fun watching them come down the stretch and make the playoffs.
Yeah, no. I'm excited to watch them. I think you said it best. There is not a team in the NFL that I don't think the Vikings could beat.
Hmm.
Uh it's just it depends with the way their games have gone, it just depends on who gets the ball last, I guess.
Actually, that is
Uh
very true.
so but I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. I don't have too much else to add. Do you?
No, this is
No.
this is
All
a
right.
great game to
So
watch. Looking forward to watching some more
oh yeah.
Minnesota
Oh yeah.
Vikings games.
Especially as the wild card race kind of slims down and we can really start to pick out who's going to be in the postseason. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I think that's going to do it for this episode. If you have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you think the Vikings record will be at the end of the season. And we will give a shout out to whoever has the most accurate prediction. So, and we will see you guys next time.